let's get started here now with Jason Blade versus Winterload. This is week 8 of the off-season open. This is the more beginner end of the bracket, although coming up soon we're going to be not using the old Premier, Beginner, and Intermediate divisions in the Champions League. So let's see here. Winterload is definitely much more of an experienced player. Some would argue he is an intermediate player when he's in practice, so definitely going to be favoring him here. Jason Blade is a newer player, although he's been growing by leaps and bounds. So we'll have to see what the approach is here. Both sides running a fairly meta deck. We've got Squirrels as a base unit. We've got some other supporting tier 1. We've got some tier 2, specifically Falcons. And both sides running to run Wolf in the late game. So it's going to come down more to execution here. The Skunk and the Mole give Jason some opportunities in the earlier game. This is definitely the more meta of the two decks. And Winterload here is going to have a more powerful late game with the Fox. Fox is pretty scary, and Wolf Fox is probably the scariest, one of the scariest tier 3 comps out there. Not necessarily the strongest, but it's certainly terrifying because the Lightning Fox is pretty good. Jason Blade getting up into Skunks right away, and Winterload going into Mass Squirrel. So once the Skunks are out, this is going to be good for Jason, but Winterload is going to be coming across the map here pretty quick with all of his Squirrels. Jason Blade is going to have a bit of a moment of weakness, and Winterload's going to pressure on this high ground. The Squirrel's moving forward. This is not really good for Jason Blade. You don't really want to move forward like this. You need, with these lower tier 1 numbers, you absolutely need to have your Warrens and Pigs tanking and shooting as well. Otherwise, you're going to really lose this fight. The snowball is going to be awful. So one Warren does go down, and only now does the first Skunk pop out. So this is already excellent for Winterload. He's killed a Warren, he's killed a Pig, and he's killed plenty of tier 1. So Winterload already coming ahead pretty well. Just because Jason Blade, first of all, was taking a risk, but just because he stepped forward ahead of those and fought the superior squirrel numbers in the open field. He is expanding back and grabbing a farm there, so that's fine, and the Skunks are going to help. Winterload coming in with an absolutely insane number of Squirrels here. Pigeon support incoming. Let's see if the Skunks can get some value. They might be able to get some, but maybe not enough. Squirrels are pushed back for now, but with the Pigeons, one Skunk is picked off, and he's going to target the other one down here. So that's, again, Jason Blade holds, but that's big value for Winterload here, picking off those expensive tier 2. And Jason Blade is again kind of fighting out in front of his Pigs. Not as bad as last time. The Pigs are shooting a little bit, but you really want to stay back where your defender's advantage is strongest if you want to have any chance of holding this. And with 5 Pigeons out now, the Skunk is going to be pretty hard countered now. Winterload up on 8 farms versus 7. And with that Skunk going down, I think Jason Blade's chances are dropping. Winterload has plenty of food to replace dying units, and with all those Pigeons, the Skunk Gas isn't going to do it. That's going to be game 1. Winterload just knowing his positioning here. Kind of fighting against the classic counter. Let's go into game 2 here. Looks like the same decks from both players. Winterload versus Jason Blade here. Now, I don't generally condone MGs for beginner players. They're pretty complicated to figure out how to use, right? But one of the situations they could have been used is after you figure out your opponent is being aggressive like that last game, maybe dropping a single MG would have helped Jason Blade hold until his Skunk was out. That would have been a good place there. But it does make the unit positioning for the ensuing fights a little bit more complicated. I will say Skunks and MGs actually combo pretty well. But it's not really a plug and play thing. You do have to kind of figure out how to use them together effectively. But that is one option if Winterload wants to be aggressive like that. Let's see what these players have in mind. Looks like Jason Blade is going to go for a 7 farm safety Warren. Might be worried about some kind of aggression. So his tempo is going to be a little bit behind, which actually means if Jason Blade goes for the Skunks again and Winterload wants to rush tier 1 again, it's actually going to go even better for Winterload. since his 8th farm was finished faster, but that's all right. Looks like Jason Blade is just going to go tier 1, so we should be safe for now. And the longer the game goes on, the less that small tempo advantage matters. Winterload going in for an expansion this time. This is a much longer map, a much longer rush distance. In fact, Winterload gets this entire side of the map all the way over to here, just locked off completely, only open to this one choke right here. There's an opening here and there's an opening here, so this is like the main choke, which means Winterload can very safely, very easily greed up into, macro up into 2 bases. He does have MGs as well, so that's like a good greed tool. Jason is getting some Falcons, which is an excellent call here. You can kind of poke down this farm with the Falcons across this cliff, or at least give you vision if you want to poke in through the front here, or defend. Falcons are good as defense early on. And he's going to farm up as well. So Winterload going to drop the Wolf. Interesting. All right. Going to get that going. Maybe he will use that for buffing another tier 3 Warren out faster, or buffing his economy to suck every last little bit of value after these out of these poor piggies. Jason is going to try to poke some value with this Falcon, but as it turns out, that corner farm is not actually grabbed, so that's the only one you can reach from this angle. And it looks like Winterload sees the Falcon, so he might not even grab that corner farm. Might just go with the 15. No, he's going to grab it. He's going to dare Jason to cliff abuse him. Meanwhile, Jason is grabbing his Wolf as well. And we see Jason in the chat saying the map wasn't great for him. Now, as long as you recognize what Winterload can do, you can be greedy as well. And the thing is, after the 2 bases, this map is definitely not as uneven. Like, Winterload gets a 3rd base here, and Jason Blade's 3rd base is here, so it's fine. So I would say it's not uneven. As long as you just commit to playing a greedy 2-base game, it's fine. It's if you wanted to do any 1-base aggression, that wouldn't be good. But as of right now, Winterload does have his Wolf, and it looks like he is rallying it over here to support his economy. So he's gonna be getting out a pretty powerful 2-base economy here. It means he's gonna dry up sooner, but this is not a bad use for a Wolf, as long as you don't get caught with without your army buffed in a fight. I've seen that happen before, and that can be scary. Jason Blade here trying to get his own Wolf, but it's much slower than his opponent, so it might not be ready in time. Here it is, finally started here. 15 farms to 16. Jason Blade did invest in some moles, which generally you want to save moles until the end because they build so quickly. The first mole pops out instantly, so that's like an extra 10 seconds or something faster than... You can get all 3 moles like 10 seconds faster than squirrels, so generally you want to only use those if you think you're about to be attacked, which he might think that. Grabbing that 3rd base. Winterload also grabbing a 3rd and a 4th base, probably some base trade security. May as well, right? He is done buffing his economy now. He's gotten out plenty of Falcons as well as his Fox. And he's moving his defenses forward. Now might be the time when those defenses are no longer useful. I wouldn't be surprised to see Winterload sell those off pretty soon here. MGs are best when you aren't afraid to sell them once they're not getting value, because you can just sell them and get more pigeons or more Falcons or more farms. Jason does have a Wolf of Zone, and he is getting a 3rd base economy started up and a pretty decent Falcon count here. Winterload is going to have the superior Falcon count and the Fox, and Foxes are such a good counter to Falcons. I think Winterload's composition is literally just better. More Falcons and the anti-Falcon unit, whereas Jason Blade, his Skunks aren't going to do that much. They're almost... Yeah, I mean, a 2nd Wolf isn't a bad idea here. More Falcons would be good, but honestly, maybe Mass Squirrel. If you can go Falcon Squirrel... sorry, Wolf Squirrel. As Jason Blade against a Falcon Fox composition, that might be our only hope. But This is a really scary composition moving out from Winterload here. There is no counter to the Masked Squirrel here from Winterload, so I think Jason Blade, his main chance is going to be going Masked Squirrel. More Skunks is definitely not going to be helpful here at all. He's getting up to 6 Skunks, which, I mean, more Skunks isn't literally a waste, but it's pretty close to it. More Squirrels probably is going to be the better. Can Wolf double skip? So 2 Wolves is good because the Wolf can't buff every unit. A unit cannot be Wolf buffed twice, but that means that the Wolf can first off buff the other Wolf, but also make sure that your entire army is buffed. So 2 Wolves is good, but your units never get double speed. That you just, more of your army will get sped up, if that makes sense. He does sell that Wolf, and he's going for more Falcons. I think the main thing we need to see from Jason Blade is less moles and more squirrels, hopefully. And that the 6 skunks aren't going to do it, especially when you have a wolf buff. 2 to 4 skunks is almost always the most you'll ever need when you have a wolf buff as well, because you just get so much skunk gas out. And Winterload's army is mostly fast and in the air anyway. Winterload is also staking a forward claim on the map where he can kind of have 4 bases and lock his opponent down to only 3. So Winterload is going to have to move forward, and the mass mole is going to do very well versus the MGs. If he can wolf buff the moles and get on top of the MGs, that's going to do pretty well. Oh my gosh, Jason Blade getting even more skunks. Imagine if all those skunks were Masked Squirrel instead, or more Falcons. It's just kind of a fundamental misunderstanding of the counters, I think, since Winterload is not getting Masked Squirrel. You can see how fast the moles can burst down structures right there. And Winterload with the dreaded double fox here. Yeah, the double fox is going to do it here. I hate to say it so conclusively, but the mass skunk from Jason Blade is a complete and total waste. It's doing absolutely nothing for him. Alright, here goes. Attacking from an angle is great against MGs. Winterload is going to come in, though, with the Foxes, and with his superior Falcon count is going to start chewing through Jason Blade's army. Alright, Winterload takes game 2. It was a good opening from Winterload considering the map, and then his composition was just better at the end. Let's see game 3 here. Winterload in the green in the far left, and Jason Blade in the blue in the far right. Looks like Jason Blade going to try the Fox this time. Owl Fox, not a bad combo at all. The Owl's mice can kind of keep the Fox alive. Winterload going into Badger, which is on paper a counter to Owl, but it's generally more complicated than that. And I do like the chances of the Fox if piloted well. Also, both sides with the same Squirrel Pigeon Falcon. Welcome to the chat, Winterload. We've got both the players in the chat here now. And the map looks pretty even as well. I'm excited to see. This might be the best chance out of the 3 that Jason Blade has had based on the deck and the map. And as I said before, Winterload is just a more experienced player. So, you know, it's definitely fair to expect him to perform better. Now, I do want to point out, if you scout your opponent going 8 farms, then going a 7 farm safety warrant into 8 farms is actually a mistake at that point. It doesn't put you very far behind, but if you do see your opponent going a full 8 farms, they can't do anything to you if you just get your own 8 farms, except potential mulls. So unless you're worried about some kind of mull setup, generally speaking, you're better off just getting the 8 farms yourself and then getting a tier 1 right after that. As long as you can count literally every bit of food your opponent has, which is pretty easy at the pre-farm level, you don't have to be as afraid. I do like this expansion from Jason. This is excellent. So he's trying to get some pigeons and expand here. Winterload expanding forward as well, but a little bit slower. 9 squirrels will absolutely beat 6 squirrels and 3 pigeons. It's 9 tier 1 versus 9 tier 1, but the 9 squirrels will 100% beat 6 squirrels, 3 pigeons every time. But that doesn't mean Winterload is going to try to push here. There comes the skunk from Jason, and the cams from Winterload. So once the skunk is out, the pigeons will be more helpful because they'll have a beefier tier 2 to help keep alive. Both sides are farming up, so this is great. Teching up, farming up. Good macro from both sides. Jason really showing a solid grasp of the fundamentals. One thing that I did when I was learning, when I was a beginner, Kipo was coaching me a bit, and he had me run Squirrel and a Flex, and then like just all the tier 2. Because what you do is you learn the strengths and weaknesses in the unit counters of each unit. Kind of like in game 2, where we saw the skunks basically be a waste of money. You can learn pretty quick by running tier 2 compositions what each one is good for, and that can like kind of fast track the learning process for sure. Winterload here actually putting a balloon down, and Jason is going to try to punish it. Not a bad idea. Balloons are pretty soft here. The balloon does get up. That's some pretty good skunk gas, but the cams are actually going to brutalize Jason's squirrels here. Oh, one cam does go down. Very nice. The balloon does go up, which gives Winterload a pretty nice view of what's going on, so he's never going to be surprised by an attack. Unfortunately, that fight did go better for Winterload. I think it was while Jason was targeting the balloon, Winterload was able to kill Jason's army here. So Winterload is actually getting into double cam. Jason Blade is going to be getting into Owl, so probably playing pretty defensively here. And there's the Badger. So the Badger is going to help versus an Owl, especially a single Owl. The mice end up being just kind of like chew toys for the Badger to rev up on. I would love to see Jason maybe getting either double Owl or Owl Fox, a second tier 3. Of course, he doesn't know that his opponent is going tier 3 yet. So it looks like he's going to try to move out onto the map here. Winterload grabbing some more balloons. The balloons are going to be a solid counter to the Fox, though. Little does Winterload know. Oh, interesting. He popped down these balloons before Jason's mill finished, and it reduced Winterload's territory, so this balloon actually could not be rebuilt now. That's kind of funny. Funny how the territory works out. There's like this neutral slice. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how that math figures. Shouldn't they be... I don't know. That's strange. Somebody clip this, maybe, and have Eel check it out. I'm not sure why there's this neutral slice that wasn't there before. At any rate, there is the Fox placed down for Jason, and the Owl is about ready to pop out. Meanwhile, Winterload does have his Badger, And he's getting some Falcons. Falcons going down on both sides. Jason Blade's Falcons are going to fare much better this game in this composition. Falcons are generally like the best unit to get in mass unless there's a Fox. So very nice. He's going to have to get those Falcons away. No, you're going to lose them. Oh, dang. So he's trying to attack from the flank here, but there is a Badger, which is going to rev up, and the balloons for some fire. Badger Falcon Cam is just going to chew through Jason Blade's army. The Owl comes up too late, and that's all that Jason Blade has. Winterload is going to pull back and wait for a few reinforcements, but he's basically already done it. Jason Blade up on an economy, but his army just cannot handle the Badger. And you see the Badger is able to eat the mice one by one as they come up. But even without that, that first engage was just so good for Winterload. He's going to go right through. Badger is a brutal unit to play against, for sure. Yeah, great ideas from Jason Blade, but Winterload just, with the Badger play, running him over. GG's. Again, solid fundamentals from Jason, but Winterload just having the experience and having the unit compositions for him. Well played, Jason. Thanks for playing. All right, our next series is going to be... Who do we got? We got Fleur versus UrbaneOlive. Let me reset my thing here. G to the G. That's right. All right. Fleur in the blue here and UrbaneOlive in the green. So I got my colors swapped. Very nice. There we go. So this is going to be a premier match. Although, again, those terms are not going to apply officially to the Champions League coming up. We'll still use them in caster parlance, I'm sure, but the divisions will not be officially divided by these Premier, Intermediate, and such. But having said that, UrbaneOlive is definitely a newcomer to the Premier scene. He's really shot up on the back of some of this mole stuff. I call him the mole scientist here, and you can see there he kind of forced to sell on that farm. FleurDeLys is having to get a 6-farm safety warren here, and UrbaneOlive is just farming up safely. So there's the 7-farm safety from him. And Fleur has been a premier player for a bit longer. I wouldn't say he's the absolute top of the top, but he's a very, very strong premier player and an excellent Badger player. And you guys saw in the last game how brutal Badger can be. In fact, Badger is one of the few Tier 3 that I would give an edge over Boar. Boar is widely considered the strongest, most well-rounded Tier 3 right now. Uh-oh, Fleur might be in trouble here. Going Tier 2 first against a mole player. Urbane could shut this yep, he's going to do it. You never want to go Tier 2 first against a mole player. He will punish you. Fleur might not even know about this. He's going to have to sell. Yep, he has to sell. That's really brutal. He put a lot of time into that. And it looks like he might just drop a Badger? Is that going to be Badger? It's Badger. All right. 1-base Badger, Fleur's specialty. UrbaneOlive is going to be on 2 bases now, and he might just be able to punish this if he scouts it. Fleur has not shown his mines yet, so if Urbane wants to try to punish and do a push, he might have... There you go. Yeah, so there's the mines. So he's expecting a push from UrbaneOlive. I think he's trying to bait him into doing the Squirrel Mole timing push. But UrbaneOlive is not going to buy it, actually. He's just massing up his economy, which is a bit risky against a Badger, but maybe if he can burst into a whole bunch of Falcons, he can fight the 1-base Badger. 1-base Badger is not as scary as 2-base Badger. Because the supporting army is so much smaller. You don't get a lot of Tier 2 with it. You barely have enough pigeons and squirrels as it is. It's scary, but UrbaneOlive with enough Falcons, maybe with a mine and his Squirrel Mole, he should be able to hold. So UrbaneOlive actually sells down the MG. He knows he doesn't need it yet, which is appropriate. You can always buy it again a little bit later. He's getting more squirrels. His falcons are on the way. A few moles as well. So he's going to have a full mature army composition here. I'd love to see him drop the... Oh, why is he selling his squirrel? Okay, just making sure he can pay for everything. I'd love to see him drop an MG right about now in time for this push that's coming up. Fleur is grabbing this campfire, which is great. Anytime you're a one-base... you're doing a one-base play, you can grab a campfire. It's just always good. And the Badger is upcoming. There's the MG, so Fleur has got 1 moment to try to get in here versus Urbane's Falcons. So as green here, you want to kill off the Badger's supporting army and then disconnect to unrev, basically. Like, use the Falcons to outfight and then back up to your safety. But he's trying to chase a little bit too much. The Badger is revved up and has its pigeon tags, so all of the Falcons are going to go down. Fleur, with all of the Badger experience here, just takes down that second base. And UrbaneOlive may be a little bit too trusting of his Falcons and committing a little bit too hard. The Badger should be able to clean everything up. That MG finally goes down, and UrbaneOlive doesn't have anything left. Fleur takes it. Whew. Welcome in, Lego Studios. What's up, guys? Thanks for the sub. Casting is going great. We had Winterload versus Jason Blade. Winterload predictably 3-0 Jason Blade, but Jason Blade has got some solid fundamentals, so I'm excited to see him continue to improve. I think there was some... I think the stuff there was just some fundamental army composition stuff better from Winterload was the main thing. Good point in the chat here. UrbaneOlive has played against Evil Murloc in his Badger, but Fleur is like the king of one-base Badger, man. There is nobody more well-known for a killer one-base Badger than Fleur. Legomann saying Melvin. I mean, Melvin is like the best Badger player out there by far, but I don't actually think of Melvin as a one-base Badger player. I think of him as a two-base, like a macro Badger player for sure, and he's probably the best Badger microer, so he might even be better than Fleur at a one-base Badger. He's just not known for it. You know what I mean? One-base Badger is like Fleur's thing, whereas all other Badger things are Melvin's. At least that's my thought. I'm going to give Fleur some credit here. Oh, man, the mole's just being brutal. Let's see if that pig can finish. I feel like it's not going to. He has to sell. Oh, man. Very good discipline from Fleur, though, not trying to be greedy. It's so tempting, and I've seen so many players all the way from beginner to intermediate to premier lose because they're greedy and they want to hang on to that farm. But once the mole is out, you just have to sell it because I think it's like 2 or 3 swings and it's basically dead. All right, Fleur is getting moles as well, which is helpful here. So UrbaneOlive does have the farm tempo, so he feels like he can push. But Fleur is going to... Is he going to hold? Oh, he does lose a pig there. Oh my gosh. So maybe Fleur can counter push? I think he can. Oh, he's not going to. All right. Fair enough. I guess UrbaneOlive does have the MG, so that would have been tough. All right, so UrbaneOlive just gets away with the 8th farm snipe there. Of course, Fleur did kill like 4 or so tier 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So over time, I think it's pretty even. But man, is UrbaneOlive just being abusive and aggressive as crap. Fleur here trying to get up into Skunk, and UrbaneOlive with the superior squirrel count is going to come on in. Let's see if the defender's advantage is enough. Between the pigs firing and the Warren reinforcements right there, UrbaneOlive does slightly overextend, and he has to back up. And that means that Fleur is going to be able to get out his Skunks very safely. So Urbane is going to go up into cams. Squirrel Mole Cam is terrifying. It's so good at pushing in, but Fleur has his tier 2 up faster, so he has more options. And it looks like he's going to go push right now before the cams are out, so this is a bit of a... Oh, that MG is awfully placed. Why would you do that? Oh my gosh. Hold up, hold up. UrbaneOlive, my dude, you want your MG here. That's exactly what happens when you leave it out in the open. It's not doing anything. MGs are not tanky. They're DPS. You have to give them support. They have to be like near your pigs, nestled in among your warrens, with your army like tied in with them. That was definitely a throwaway of MG for free there. A little bit of a panic MG, I think that was. Now, I think if that MG had been placed, like, right here, nestled in amongst everything, I think Urbane would be able to do it. I know he was concerned about Skunk pre-gassing his stuff, and so he wanted to keep the army out front, but that wasn't it. Fleur takes game 2. That was a more scrappy game, really back and forth there in the opening. Let's see game 3. UrbaneOlive definitely throwing some really strong punches, so I think he can take a game here. He just has to respect his opponent. And it looks like Fleur here is running mostly tier 2, so he expects the game to end pretty quickly. He's even bringing ferrets, so I'm curious what the ferret thought is here. Ferrets aren't usually like a macro tier 2. They're more of a... he's struggling getting back home. There we go. They're more of a aggressive early tier 2, so maybe if he has the right map for it, or if UrbaneOlive greeds up the right way, Fleur might go for the ferret. Yes, this is the vanilla version. I mean, yeah, they end the game quickly. I'm just saying, like, the mindset and the macro of a ferret play versus other tier 2 is pretty different. They don't mix as well as you might think. So I think what Fleur is doing is he can set up the ferrets if there's a good map for it, or if Urbane gives him the opening, but otherwise he's going to avoid them. This is not the test patch. This is the regular version. Good point, Studios in the chat as well. Yeah, if UrbaneOlive is being greedy and relying on MGs, the ferrets will just shut those down really quickly. Of course, that doesn't mean the MGs are useless, because if you put MGs and your opponent responds with ferrets, then you actually have a decent amount of time to get your stuff up as long as you see it coming and get to sell the MGs as soon as the ferrets show up. But I definitely would rather be the ferret player in that case. Cams first from both sides, and Urbane going for an expansion here. Let's see what Fleur's response is going to be. Okay, so far just normal macro. And I think Urbane seeing that, as UrbaneOlive, if you see that Fleur is not expanding or anything, he's just getting army, I think you know you can't get another farm. You just have to stick with the 9 farms and play defensively here. In fact, he is going to try to shut down these forward mole warrens, so Fleur wasn't ready with his squirrels here. There's another forward MG. What is the deal with those? That's a much better MG. Oh, interesting. Picking off the MG from the high ground. That is a really unfortunate map situation for UrbaneOlive. The first cam goes down instantly. Second cam as well. And that MG is going to fall. So really well managed here from Fleur. He's going to get a lot of damage. And let's see if the cam goes down. The cam does go down, so UrbaneOlive definitely doing his best to hang on here. Yeah, that high ground there was just brutal. Well done from Fleur, like abusing the terrain to get an advantage in that fight. And UrbaneOlive is kind of contained here. I mean, you do have to be careful as Fleur, because in an open fight, Urbane could push back out. Fleur is grabbing this expansion and getting skunks, so he's definitely investing a lot into tech and eco, and not just into keeping this contain up, whereas UrbaneOlive is single-mindedly focused on getting out. So right now we have a small tier 1 lead for UrbaneOlive. 3 squirrels can make a big difference, so Fleur has to sell his moles and run back, and he's actually just giving up this space, so he got too greedy. Trying to grab those skunks and the expansion, it was too much, and UrbaneOlive is going to push back out. Fleur's kind of in trouble. He's massing moles at home. Let's see if a skunk can pop out. That will be very helpful here. That skunk warren is 100% going to die, though. Instant goes down, but there is 1 skunk out, so UrbaneOlive has to play careful here. He's focusing. Not focusing very well at all. He does kill a couple of pigs, but that's going to be it for Urbane's push. Looks like he was thinking about targeting this mill, but that was definitely some wasted damage. If that 30 damage had gone onto Fleur's army, it would have gone better. Anyway, Urbane's successfully pushing out. It's 8 farms to 6. And, oh my gosh, Fleur doesn't have a tier 2 warren. He's sold down. Fleur gonna abuse this high ground again with the 1 skunk that he has, laying down pre-gas and taking out this warren. Urbane is in trouble, man. That's a brutal high ground spot. At least he does have a back door, but he sells that he sells that warren and backs up to safety. Fleur is trying to farm up on his expansion so he doesn't fall behind in eco, and UrbaneOlive might have 1 more killer push here. The squirrel mole cam is going to be brutal. The 1 skunk is going to do its best here to pre-gas and help out. But the cams do bunk. It is too much, and now he gets to kill this expansion. Both cams are still alive, 1 just barely. And he keeps both of them alive. That must be like 2 hit points on that 1 cam there as he pulls back to safety. 3 farms to 2. We are at the 6-minute mark, so only 2 farms left, and they are about to go. And they should go at the same time. I don't think there was any early shenanigans. No, so both sides are going to start starving at the same time here, and Urbane just has a much better army, so he should be able to just go kill. It's up to him if he wants to try to end the starve and buy a campfire, or if he wants to go kill. Urbane has a much bigger army, so he has 60 seconds to kill the mill of his opponent, and he should be able to do it. A small choke and skunk gas is all that Fleur has for him. A couple of warrens going down, not that the warrens matter much anymore. And that's going to do it. UrbaneOlive puts a point on the board. Nicely done. Olive showing his strength in those scrappy early game fights. Despite Fleur's command of that high ground. I think Fleur just got a little bit greedy with the contain. And you know what? This is a general RTS concept. It's not as applicable in Tooth and Tail as other RTSs, but we did see that example is when you have a contain up, if your opponent is able to bust out of the contain, that spells doom for the containing player. If you're going to invest into a contain, it has to work or you just lose the game. I'm not exactly sure how all of that works out, why that is the case, but it is absolutely the case in basically every RTS. It's just a fundamental thing. If you're going to contain, it has to stay up, otherwise you lose, basically. So Fleur was able to... oh my gosh, we have a mole off here. Oh, wow. UrbaneOlive actually killed Fleur's mole warren, and Urbane got a tiny bit of value from his cell, so I think that's slightly better for Olive. That's really funny, though, because Fleur still has a mole. That was correct, by the way, for both players to target their opponent's mole warren. You don't want to be killing moles there. You want to be going after the warren. That was the right choice. Because if your opponent is killing your Warren while you're trying to attack his mole, you lose that so hard, whereas this is fairly even. At any rate, yeah, it contains. If you contain, you have to hold it, otherwise you just, like, not only lose your advantage, but you actually get a pretty big disadvantage. So Fleur there being a little bit too greedy, I think, after taking such an edge. UrbaneOlive is pushing in here. Fleur was trying to get up into cams, and UrbaneOlive is having none of it. He loses his commander. It's not worth it. The target firing is not worth it there. Cam does come out, and it looks like Fleur gets to have a pretty big counter push too, especially because he gets to kill this Warren. Oh no, UrbaneOlive, you can't lose your commander. I'm sorry, you can't do it. That's brutal. Now Fleur is down to 6 farms, and he's going to rebuy. UrbaneOlive is going to try to hold, but Fleur didn't punish, so that's fine. Yeah, if your commander's at 2 hit points and you survived, it's so tempting to go back in and try to re-rally, but just sit back and wait. Pull back with your army or let them do their thing and get some value while you save your commander. It's so worth it to just keep your commander alive. I promise. I promise. But having said that, that's a pretty common mistake even up to high premier. QQ is a great example of a very, very strong top premier player who just makes that mistake constantly, honestly. And somehow makes it work, so... Alright, UrbaneOlive pushing in again. He does see that there are cams here. I don't know if he knows about this expansion. Fleur is trying to get more tier 2, but this is the wrong time. UrbaneOlive just jumps on his pigs. 3 of them killed immediately, and now the squirrels are finally... Oh, the cams were out of position. They were just gone. They weren't even there for the fight. That's so good for UrbaneOlive, because he was able to get so much value. Now he just has to trade evenly here. He kills the cams. He might barely lose this fight. In fact, he does retreat, but that value is huge. Eight farms to 4. Oh, wow. The cams were totally across the map. Not sure what they were doing over there. I'm sure Fleur had some killer plan, but it didn't work out. UrbaneOlive pushed while the army was gone and killed 4 pigs and a Warren. Don't forget that. So Fleur is kind of in trouble. He's trying to tech up into skunks and cams and farm up here. Will UrbaneOlive push again? It looks like he will. There's not much Fleur can do about that. Here comes the mass tier 1. He does have 1 skunk. It all depends on how long this tier 1 can survive. And it looks like Urbane is actually going to target this mill first. Get rid of those pigs and everything. And that's going to work out for him. The skunk goes down, and there are squirrels on top of Fleur's Warrens. This should be it. UrbaneOlive, just a master at punishing that tech greed. Taking the game to the series to game 5. Yes, no, I agree completely. The attack only worked because the army was not there. The cams were gone, and the squirrels were a little out of position as well. Yep, Fleur in the chat, defending his honor. Absolutely. The cams were gone, and the squirrels were not in a defensive position, so the attack definitely did its damage, only because of that. If the cams were there, I think it would have been a pretty even fight, and Fleur starts to take a lead because of the tech lead that he has. But, man, Urbane is always ready to just go for it. Go for the jugular. And here's Urbane, the mole scientist, with his trademark mole play. And it looks like Fleur is just going to call his bluff. He is going to have to sell this farm. Oh, he's going to have to sell the other one too. Wow, gets there just in time. I thought a hit was going to go off. And so Fleur is actually going to 4-farm double. The moles are still up. I guess no reason to sell the moles, right? Oh, he does sell them now. So it's a 4-farm double into 5-farm. Okay. That's confusing. Okay, so it looks like 4 farm double into 5 farms versus a 5 farm double into 6. And that farm, I think Urbane sold the wrong farm. He should have kept the back farm. He could have. Even though it was the fresher farm, you keep that, you sell the corner one. No matter. UrbaneOlive is going to hold here for now. That was a confusing opening. I'm not, as a caster, I'm not sure what to make of it. So I'm just going to say that we're just about out of it. 8th farm queued, 8th farm built. Somehow I feel like UrbaneOlive is just slightly ahead after all that. It is tricky dealing with the pre-8 farm rushes. It's the math is tricky. Legomann makes a good point. So Fleur didn't know what we knew. Fleur didn't know how close Urbane was pushing. Uh-oh. Fleur is tacking up here. UrbaneOlive is ready to push with his 12 squirrels and his mole warren. He's going to see that tier 2 warren. Gonna get away with his commander alive. He's just going to push right in. Only 6 squirrels to defend. I think Fleur is in trouble. Fleur's dropping a mole warren of his own. And his cam is on the way, so he might just barely hold this. This is going to be really close. There's a lot of squirrels here for UrbaneOlive. A warren is going to go down. That's not great. 2 warrens go down. That's spelling doom. Urbane might take the series. A pig goes down as well. Can Urbane just pull back and hold the counterattack? That's all he has to do, because Fleur only has 4 squirrels forever. Selling that, okay, he's going to go home. Urbane is floating a lot of food, so he needs to pop that into army right away. Fleur has 1 cam, a second on the way. And he did rebuy that farm, so Urbane is just going to take a lead here and grab his own cams. All right. The real story of this is that Fleur has no tier 1 warrants. He has to buy them up again. Wow. Urbane like was ready for that push before he scouted the cams. It's like he either knew that Fleur's tendency was to get tier 2 there, or he didn't care and he was ready to fight anyway, which is so crazy, because if Fleur had just been massing squirrels, that would have been really bad. He's insane. He's off his rocker. UrbaneOlive is actually unhinged. He's so ready to be aggressive. It's like, it shouldn't work, but it does. All right, Fleur is going to do his trademark, well, now trademark, getting into the skunks here, but UrbaneOlive is going to do his trademark push before the skunks are out. Oh my gosh, Fleur is just playing right into UrbaneOlive's hands. The cams are going to come in for a flank and try to knock down squirrels, which is great, actually. That's amazing. That's good for the cams, but... Oh, that might have done it, actually. Yeah, actually, that might have done it. Fleur might hold because of that. And now he's going to have his skunks coming out. So, yeah, that cam flank literally was a game saver, a life saver, because you can take down the juicy, squishy squirrels. So, I think Fleur is just ahead now. Yeah. I think Fleur is just ahead. He managed to hold that push, which I think should have done better, but was a little bit somewhere between a mishandling of the push and the cam flank. Obviously, some defender's advantage there as well. The only thing to say here is that Fleur is down a farm. It says he's up a farm because of the early shenanigans, though, so that's really weird. Because so many farms were delayed in the early game, Fleur actually has the farm tempo now. It's so backwards. It's like the reverse farm tempo. And we barely get to see that kind of situation where if you're late on your 8 farms, there's actually this weird window around 6 minutes where you might be ahead. in farms, so Fleur is going to just use that to his advantage. He's got the cams ready for the flank again. They come on in, coming from a different angle, so that UrbaneOlive, in order to focus down the cams, UrbaneOlive had to move his moles all the way across there, which wasted a lot of time with the moles. So Fleur is just going to hold this. He wanted to kill those cams, and so he focused with the moles as well, which, you know, you kind of have to kill the cams, but those moles spent so much of that fight walking. That was crazy. The cam flank really doing it there for Fleur. Now he sells the cams in order to keep his tier 1 count up and the farming up. So UrbaneOlive is going to lose this, totally. That was really well played from Fleur. Excellent positioning. I love little details like that. It just goes to show how complicated this game is. It's so much more than just X beats X. Or X beats Y, you know? It's so much more than just, like, you know, this unit hard counters that unit or whatever. It's like, no. There's so much, like, nuance and control in this. It wasn't even a mistake from UrbaneOlive. Like, that was just well played from Fleur. Both of those times, the cam flank saving him. Now, this, when you fight within range of an MG, that can be tricky, but he's far enough ahead it doesn't matter. Generally want to target the MG first, but Fleur takes the series there, beating Urbane at his own game. Okay, and next we're going to have... Oh, did I X out that? Okay. Swap out these replays. Next, we're going to have a really fun one for you. This is... I have to... get the chat a little bit more involved in this one. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to see this on Twitch, you know, pop on over, see it live. I stream all of my casts live, so link should be in the description there. This is going to be Tatanka versus Scav, and here's the game. They have swapped out their names in these matches for player 1 and player 2, so we don't actually know who is who, and we have to guess based on what we know of their play styles, which one is which in each game. All right? So we're going to get going into game 1 here, Tatanka versus Scav, but I don't actually know who is who. So I'm going to make my first guess here based on the deck. I'm going to guess that red is Tatanka because of the ferret mine situation. Also, he likes skunks. He doesn't really use cams as much. Of course, both players have skunks. But I'm going to guess this is Tatanka. And this, I'm going to guess, is Scav with the Badger Fox. I don't think Tatanka really plays Badger Fox. Like, I know it goes Boar Fox. But just based on decks, this is more of a Scav-like deck. I mean, this is a Melvin deck. 100%. This is like the Melvin deck. But, you know, Scav is going to be taking inspiration from Melvin, whereas Tatanka playing his own game here with the ferrets. That's my guess. What do you guys think in the chat? We're going to have to update our guess as we see their play style. You know, as we see, because, like, I can tell a Tatanka tier 3 macro, I think. And I can also tell a Tatanka ferret style, I think. Like, I think I know his style well enough. I should be able to call it if I see it. I don't know Scav's quite as well. Oh, Scav doing a fake mole rally. Look at that. And Tatanka just calling his bluff. I'm pretty sure blue is Scav here and red is Tatanka. Tatanka just doesn't do that mole stuff. And Scav is definitely the kind to fake rally, guys. I've seen him do it. He loves doing these kind of mind tricks. So I'm pretty dang confident. Whatever I say. Why did they do it? Just for fun. I don't know. It wasn't my idea. Tatanka sent me the replays, and he has the answers, by the way, in spoilers that I haven't seen. So I'll check after each game, and we'll check our answers. Look at that. The red player 2 over here going skunks and grabbing this expansion. The blue player 1 also going skunks, grabbing this expansion. Pretty even so far. It looks like player 2 is actually getting more squirrels and fewer farms, whereas player 1 is grabbing... I'm going to just say Scav. And we can all have the giant plot twist if it was actually reversed and just mess up our brains. But I think Scav here going with more farms and Tatanka here going with more squirrels. Scav here in the chat with some spoilers. Oh, he's just saying they change colors too, so we can't just stay consistent here. I'm gonna change in the scoreboard. I'm gonna change them both to red, just to like avoid that. All right, player red here, being a little bit aggressive. He's got skunks, he's got pigeons on the way, and he's got this mine. Both players have skunks, or pigeons actually, so the skunk pre-gas is actually a lot more limited in usefulness. Uh-oh, blue is losing a skunk right away. That bodes ill, so red player is definitely going to get an edge here on this tier 2 war, so Scav is going to push him back with these squirrels. For sure. Ooh, ooh, that mine definitely killed the squirrel there. The value is only in tempo since it's 20 food for 20 food. But anyway, the main story there is that Tatanka was able to snipe a skunk. That's huge. Scav is going to respond here with a badger, because I think his income was greater. Yeah, so Scav had the 16 farms up sooner, so he's going to grab the badger. Tatanka is just going to go mass tier 2 here, so, I mean, that's all he's got. So I'm worried about this badger, man. I would say they're both pretty flexible with their comps. Tatanka does more off-meta stuff, maybe, but like Scav does all kinds of crazy stuff too. So I would say the thing about Tatanka is he'll find an off-meta strat with like some really interesting unit, like a snake or something like that, and then he'll just stick with it. He's less swingy from game to game. Whereas Scav, I don't know, I could see him playing a more meta style, but then like changing, like tweaking it up a little bit each game. Yeah, Studios puts it well. Scav does crazy stuff. Tatanka literally just does what he feels like, which often is fairly consistent throughout a series. Like, he'll do the same deck throughout a series, maybe. Unless he just has, like, a weird thing in his back pocket. But it's going to be something weird that he sticks with the entire series. At least that's my experience. I don't know. Both of these players a little bit of a wild card in their own ways. Badger coming out. Is Tatanka here going to have enough falcons and enough micro to deal with the badger? 4 skunks for the pre-gas here, but there's a lot of pigeons, and the badger's revving up on the skunks. The falcon's waiting in the wings. The badger's fully revved up. I think. Uh-oh. Okay, the badger getting pretty low, and somehow with the mass squirrel here actually pushing back blue. The mass squirrels kind of just came in there from a weird angle, so Tatanka definitely showing some patience against the badger. He did not try to go fight it out in the open. He waited for it to commit, and then he kind of pounced on the supporting army, and now there's just too much red. Right? So the badger revs, so he backs up. You fight until the badger is revved, and then you disconnect. A lot of the falcons going down there. That's a little bit too much, though. A little bit of an overextension from red there. The blue defenses, with the badger being really strong defensively, as well as all of the reinforcements there. Now the thing is, Tatanka's expansion here is fresh and it's untouched, whereas the damaged farms from Scav were his fresh ones. So economy-wise, Tatanka's doing a little bit better, but that was definitely an overextension on the counterattack. Yeah, it was a tough call trying to kill the mill. If you try to kill the mill and you fail at it, you look like a colossal fool. So it's definitely risky. The fox is out though, so now it's double tier 3, and so far the fox has only picked off squirrels. But you know what? You pick off enough squirrels, and that's plenty of value, so... And there goes the first Falcon to fall. I think Scav has done it. I think blue takes it. Alright, now before I score, because I'm pretty sure that was Scav, I'm gonna go look at the spoilers in the private chat. So game 1. Oh my god, you guys! Wait! Scav, you need to confirm this. Hold up. It says game 1, player 1 Tatanka, player 2 Scav. These motherfuckers, they completely flipped on us. Do you think they did that on purpose, playing decks that was like the other one? I guess. Wow. Tatanka doesn't usually run ferrets and then not use them, but like, what? They didn't do. They just happened upon it. Wow. Okay, so the Badger Fox from Tatanka there. I feel like I almost need to rewatch that whole. Oh man, got me. It was his idea. He didn't even know it yet. Well, okay. I'm trying to like remember what happened that game. Some of the details there. Interesting. So Scav actually showing a lot of patience in that first Badger push, really knocking it down, but then overextending on the counterattack. Okay, well, Scav, I'm impressed. That hold was crazy. I don't usually see the defense against a Badger style like done like that. Kind of waiting for the Badger to rev up and waiting until the army is like deeper into your territory. That's not usually how it goes, but it worked, and I'm very much impressed. Nice job there. Well, and if Tatanka doing the fake rally was like more of Scav's thing, then it makes sense that Scav wasn't falling for it because he does it enough, right? Okay, so player 2 here in the green is going for a mole rush. He's got snakes, and I don't even know, man. I'm gonna guess, but I'm not gonna be as confident this game. I think the snake has... No, I can't guess. I was gonna say maybe the snake has to be Tatanka because he runs snakes, but you know what? I would not put it past Scav to try something crazy like that. What the heck is this rally? Wow. That was a really interesting way of rallying that mole. He just kind of like did it from a funny angle. It worked though. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Scav used to literally call himself Snake. Now he doesn't really play snakes as much this patch, but maybe he's trying it because he's seen Tatanka do it. And then we've got the ferret player from the other side. So I don't know. I think I gotta say green is Tatanka. I mean, the pre 8 farm snake rush. Oh man, the mole counter. That's the way to do it. Oh no, and green doesn't sell the snakes in time. Oh, nice. Nice. I'm gonna guess that green is Tatanka, but you guys, you gotta help me out. What do you think? Studios doesn't know what to think. Well, the players are up 1 and I am down. It's 1-0 against me, the caster, for that. I was so confident last game too. Damn. Okay, so the red player here, player 1, has effectively shut down the snake rush, which is something that Tatanka does, is he'll go like 7 farm snake and he'll just like mess up your economy with it super bad. And in a low economy situation, snakes do great. And if you dare go tier 2 to match his tier 2, the snake would do even better. So that is a thing that I've seen Tatanka do. Whether it's Tatanka this time or not, I don't know. And now green is just going into skunk, squirrel, mole. Red here is going Falcon first, mark of a true premier. As in the first tier 2 is Falcon. Very nice. Wouldn't do well against snake. But Jason Blade saying if red puts down ferrets, it's Tatanka. Okay, interesting. A lot of players do pick ferrets and then like don't end up using them because they're waiting for the right map or the right opportunity from their opponent. Whereas Tatanka will just use them regardless. Like he'll just go ferrets. And to be fair, I do recommend to beginners to run ferrets because other beginners tend to run MGs a little bit too... They'll lean on MGs far too much. Oh, okay. Falcon makes it out alive. Yeah, I don't mind the picking ferrets and not using them. It's definitely not bad. Again, I'll recommend it to beginners because other beginners tend to use MGs far too much, and ferrets are such a good counter to that you can just bring them just in case your opponent turtles and then kill them. Ferrets are good. Play ferrets, not MGs. That's my advice. As hard as they are to use too, they're so frustrating to play against. But here we go, green running Skunk Snake, and that is definitely something that Tatanka's been playing with lately. But those snake tags were not good, and the Skunk Gas wasn't great either, so red is going to be able to push back totally fine. Snake tagging is... You really have to babysit them a little bit. You can't depend on them doing their job for you, especially against moles, because moles would be happy to tank a snake tag or two. But now the tagging comes in, so if... Oh, two on the Falcon there, so the snake micro from green is a little bit lackluster here. Red gonna abuse this high ground a little bit more. And still doesn't get the pick on that Warren. There we go. Finally that Warren goes down. And green taps out. Okay. I don't know, guys. Studios is going red to tank a green Scav. That's not fair. You're just saying that because red won. I'm only gonna agree with you because the snake micro was not up to par with what I'd expect from Tatanka. Alright, player 1 was Tatanka. So my initial guess was wrong. So I'm gonna say that that's 2-0. The players are up 2-0 and I'm down 0. Alright, player 1 in the yellow, mystery player number 1. And in the blue, mystery player number 2. What do we think based on the decks? I really, really don't know, because I tried to pick based on the decks both of the previous games and was wrong. Oh, roasting Scav in the chat here. The skunk snake micro wasn't good enough, so it must have been Scav. Wow. Wow. Skunk snake is alright, though. It's not terrible. You just gotta be... I think the snakes need to be... You have to be microing the snake tags more aggressively. That's kind of the secret. He is really good at it. No, that's fair. That's fair. He is very good. I'd love to see more Skunk Snake from Scav. I'd love to see it more from just everybody. Alright, here's the 6 Snake Rush. I don't know who this is. I think I have to say this is Tatanka again, but I don't know. I don't know. Either player could totally do this. Scav did this last game. Like, he did the Snake Rush and then got mold. I did not expect Tatanka to do the mole thing. Maybe that's the answer to the Snake Rush, is just have moles and use those. I was trying to play against a Snake Rush, and I was using, like, Mass Squirrel, and it almost worked. I was using, like, Squirrel Wire. Alright. Jason is saying blue is Tatanka, yellow is Scav. Yeah, Legomann's right. And Legomann is the snake player out of all snake players. So I trust him. You do need to get the snake tags right, and you have to pray no pigeons from the enemy. Yep, that's true. That's fair. Badger Wolf is a Scav thing. Here comes the snake. Gonna tag some squirrels. 2 squirrels and a pig were tagged. The pig was tagged twice. Oh, there's a pigeon here as well. The pigeons had better be focusing that pig! Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the pig might go down just because there's a squirrel around that's damaged. Oh my gosh! Wow. Somehow, player 1 here saves the pig and the squirrels. That was gutsy. That pig almost died. Meanwhile, player 2 drops the snakes completely and goes into Mass Squirrel Mole. I've seen Tatanka do that, but again, I think that Scav is definitely capable of such a switch as well. Ooh, that pig goes down instantly. Whoops. pig was a little bit forward, and blue's squirrels were not forward enough. And yellow is just kind of like pushing back here. Yeah, Legomann has a good point there too. The squirrels could have taken a bath and that would have done it. Focusing the pigeons. Interesting choice here from blue. I like it. I think it's a good call. Yellow is forcing trades that aren't good. Like, that was a much better trade for blue. I would say that was an overextension from yellow. But it is 8 farms to 6. So you can afford bad trades as yellow, but that one was particularly bad. When to focus fire and when not to focus fire is definitely a mark of experience, Jason. So that's definitely something to work on. Just sometimes it's good to focus and sometimes it's not, and it's hard to figure out when is when. So give it a try. You know, try to think about it in some of your games and see how it turns out. Here we go, another squirrel versus squirrel brutal fight. The pigeons are there, so I think the pigeons are going to help. But blue gets defender's advantage by popping out reinforcements. Blue is going to tap there. That was too much from yellow. What do you guys think? I don't know. Again, I thought blue was Tatanka and yellow was Scav. So did Scav take one? You think blue is Tatanka because of the clicky micro? Let's see. Player 1 was Scav. Player 2 was Tatanka. So Scav takes one. I'm glad to see. And I was right finally with my deck guess. Nice. Nice job, guys. We all guessed correctly. All right, game 4. That's right. Studios is 2-1. He did hold his guess until the end of one of the games. Still salty about it, but both players running Squizzard Mine. Okay, Squizzard Mine Fox. I love that Squizzard Mine play. Let's see. It's going to be kind of spicy. Although, having said that, look at this base. It's like almost impervious to lizards. There is technically a back door here, but it's very visible to Pigfire right in this location. Oh, you know what? Technically, you could kind of worm your way around here, but... So, the yellow base is technically open to lizard harass, but man, is it like literal one hex choke and then a very tiny front choke. So, with a single mine, you're probably fine. Alright, Studios, I'm sorry. Fine. You saw it with the Skunk Snake micro. There's just a delay in the chat. Very good, very good. That's fine. I'll give it to you. Yo, Hollow Husk, quick, guess. Is player 1 or player 2 Tatanka? Which one is Tatanka and which one's Scav? They're not telling us. Studio's fighting me on that. Your message did come first in the chat. All right. It's legitimate. Player 1 is Tatanka. That's what Hollow Husk is saying. Honestly, just based on the Boar Fox, my guess is Tatanka is yellow. I'm not disagreeing with you, Garso, because I've been wrong most of the time. My record is 66% wrong so far, so you're probably right. But I'm just guessing based on Boar Fox alone that this is Tatanka. Now, having said that, this is not the flavor of Boar Fox that Tatanka usually runs. Like, yes, mines, but Cam? This is definitely more like my flavor of Boar Fox, whereas Tatanka likes the Falcon Mine Balloon. The Mine Balloon is very Tatanka. So I might actually say that maybe blue is actually Tatanka. Jason says he doesn't know any of these comps. Yeah, these are kind of like off the meta kind of spicy comps. This is like these are two ways to play Fox. There's the Boar Fox with the beefy like cams and mine stuff. Oh, this yellow is definitely Scav. I don't think the tank would be this aggressive. Yellow is definitely Scav. Pure Fox is a Scav thing, but Tatanka can run Pure Fox as well. And again, the Balloon Mine is like literally a trademark. The Balloon Mine and the Falcon only for tier 2. Hollow Husk is changing his mind yellow is Tatanka, and I'm changing my mind blue is Tatanka. I'm going to stick with it. What? Neither deck here is bullshit. I'm sorry, Goris. These are both fine decks. Whoever blue is just popped a mine there, and then it got immediately killed by the cams, I'm pretty sure. Anyway. Fox goes down right away. What is the usual go-to? Is it usually boar first or fox first? I mean, it's fox first this time, but I can't remember what is like the more common one. Player 1 is going to attack with squirrel falcon. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. I think player 1 is Tatanka. The usual is boar first. Okay, interesting. So he's poking in with the falcons. He knows there's mines, and he's got his own mines to retreat onto. I mean, you could go either one, fox or boar first, depending on... Oh, that cam is not long for this world. Depending on, like, what you want to do with it, what the map is, what the situation is. Like, against mostly falcons, the fox is going to do great here. The fox is going to pop out and just immediately start sniping falcons. It might be too late, though. Oh, that cam just disappeared instantly. It might have been better to save it for later, but here comes the fox. Squirrel goes down. A falcon goes down. Let's kill the other falcon. Oh, the commander. Interesting. Falcon, all right. Does player 1 sell the falcons? Because I would. If I'm against a fox player, I would immediately sell the falcons and go lizards. No, he doesn't. Yeah, no, definitely. I would just sell the falcons. Because the thing is, the fox is going to get such huge value from sniping falcons. I've lost so many games to that. Meanwhile, lizards are actually really good against fox. And if you sold 2 full falcon warrens, you can just mass up lizard pretty well. There goes a falcon. There goes another falcon. Fox has already paid for itself, guys. Now, granted, player 1 has 8 farms and player 2 has only 5. Oh, the commander snipe. That's brutal. Oh, no. Oh, no. This whole army is just going to be toast. Okay, there we go. The falcons are sold. Little too late, in my opinion. Like, you only sold 2 falcons there. You lost several instead of being able to sell as much. I don't know. I don't think you can afford all 18 lizards. Fox is getting mega value. That's right. And both of these players are 100% capable of this kind of fox. So I'm not going to base any guess off of that. All right, so we do have Squizzard set up here. It is going to be 12 and 12. This is good against the fox, but there are a lot of mines here. And historically, cams have done very well against Squizzard. Oh, man. Is there enough tier 1 left? I don't think so. I think the mines did their job. A couple lizards coming up, getting a few picks off on this fox, but it's not going to be enough. Ugh. And there's mines to run back to, too, so the fox player can feel safe. Oh, no. This is like the soul-crushing nature of fox, man. And people say that fox is weak and needs to be buffed. Bullshit. Fox is so strong, you guys. It just takes the right pilot. Fox should... Yeah, exactly. Fox should never be buffed. Fox is low-key one of the best tier 3. It is hard countered, yes. It's a niche unit, but it's so strong. You would give Fox amphibious, so like not sped up by roads and faster in water. Interesting. It is mass lizard now. These lizards can definitely catch the fox. Ooh, ooh! Is the fox gonna survive, you guys? Oh my god! Oh my god, there's no more mines to run back to. No! Oh my god! That was so close. Holy shit. I swear player 2 was going to win that entire time, and player 1 did the lizard switch. Where is Lucas in the chat saying Liz OP when we need him, huh? Whew. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Who was player 1? I think it was Tatanka. No! I was wrong again. Player 1 was Scav. Player 2 was Tatanka. So Tatanka was the one going Boar Fox, which was my initial guess, which I backed out of. And Scav with that killer comeback with those lizards. Well done. Damn. Holy shit. You guys are fooling me. I thought I knew Tatanka, and I just don't. He's messing with my brain, and we've also got a match 5, so Scav just doing well here. Let's see who can take it. Is it going to be player 2 in the red or player 1 in the green? And do I even bother guessing now? I've gotten 1 guess correct out of the 4. Yeah, I would only say you should have gone Mass Lizard sooner. I mean, the mine usage with the Fox was definitely really good. But, you know, I was definitely saying either player could have done that. Damn. All right. Badger from both players. Badger Wolf from one, and we've got this whole, like, mole thing. I mean, I'm going to have to say the green is Scav just because I think Scav is much more likely to mole rush than Tatanka. It's not that Tatanka doesn't like to rush and do pre-8 form stuff, but he doesn't do it very often. Whereas Scav used to be really well known for mole stuff in previous patches. I don't know. I'm going to say that green is Scav just because of the mole play. And instead of basing it off of the deck. Because I have no idea based on the deck anymore. I'm going to say red Tatanka, green Scav, which is the opposite that Jason says. Green is literally what Tatanka used to beat Araloo. Fair. Wolf cam is scary. Yes, absolutely. You get like 6 cams in Wolf buff him, or 8 cams, 6 or 8. And it's like, it's so terrifying. Ah, man, I don't know, too, because Tatanka doesn't like using cams all that much. He's more of a skunk player. You guys, I don't know. I don't know. It is a good deck, this green deck. Squirrel, Mole, Skunk, Falcon, Badger, Pigeon. It's very meta right now, too. I'm going to stick with it, as probably wrong as I am. I'm going to say red is Tatanka, green is Scav, but I'm not going to cast with the name, so I'm going to say green and red. So green is going for double tier 2, getting a little bit of pigeon there at the end. Notice, guys, the pigeons, especially beginners, notice the pigeons come later in the comp. The pigeons aren't there until after the tier 2 are out. I see a lot of beginners go pigeon with tier 1, and it just isn't that great. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not something I would recommend as a regular go-to. Pigeons are better with tier 2, in my opinion. Player 2 here also getting pigeons after the cams are out, and we've got Cam versus Skunk Falcon. Let's see how it goes. I like the cams here. One skunk does go down. Another skunk goes down, and the cams are going to get out. All of them alive. Okay, so player 2 saves all of the cams, and player 1 has lost a couple of tier 2 already. Now that Falcon is going to be trouble. It's going to snipe a cam here. Can we snipe the Falcon? The Falcon is oh, the Falcon does go down. All right, I think red gets to push right on through here. The cams start to fall here, but not until a lot of the farms and warrens go down, and green taps out. Based on the mole rush, I think that green is Scav, but I don't know, guys. Let's see who won. Player 1 was Tatanka, and player 2 was Scav. You guys, Scav wins the series 3-2. GG's, way to go. And Tatanka's just messing with my head, man. I swear he's doing it on purpose. Uh-oh, I've been muted. Oh, you guys. Oh, man. I'm going to leave that in the video, too. Okay, anyway, like I was saying, welcome back. This is on the patch test. Scav. Ugh, I had some good stuff said, too. Scav, used to be known as Snake, and he is known as Scav now. Yeah. Wow, this is going to sound really dumb now. Scav likes Scavs. He's running Scavs. Legomann loves snakes. He's running snakes. Skunk's maybe OP. Let's see what happens. Okay, that was the short version. This is the last match of the 4 matches, and it's a best of 5. So anywhere between 3 and 5 games left. Depending on if it's if we go to game 5 or if it's just a 3-0. And then I'm going to, on the stream, I'm going to like share a few details about the championship coming up. Just a few. I don't have a whole lot to share. Just a little teaser for you guys. And then there was an earlier message in the chat. Welcome to the new viewers as well. There was a new message in the chat from earlier that was asking about the new patch. When is it coming out? I don't know. It's not been announced yet. It's still in progress, and it's been in progress for a while. So, you know, to be determined, coming soon, TM. Hey, thanks for the follow. I don't know. I think this is Eel's patch test mod from the championship, which I think is patch test 01. I don't know. Good question. That looks like the new skunk. It's not. The root time and the gas is moving really fast. We did see a commander death there, which helped Green to snipe one of those scavs. The thing about the scav warren is, even though the scav warren is towards the edge of the territory, they're still kind of running through territory, so it's kind of rough in that way. Okay, so he's going to try to pull back over these mines. Scav's doing pretty good value here, getting pretty good value. Second scav is coming up here. That is the double gas. Okay, thank you. That's the patch test championship. Very nice. All right. It is a mini fox. Yes. Yes, exactly. That's something I've been saying as well. The scav functions like a mini fox. Snakes come out, kill the scavs, but the snake warren goes down, and the spread of squirrels from blue is too much for the skunks to deal with. So it looks like blue is actually going to push through here. Scav is just going to take Legomann out. The scavs are too much. All right. Yeah, so snakes do double tags right now. Yep. All right, scav takes game 1 here. Let me get the colors right. Man, I'm all messed up from that mute. I'm sorry, guys. All right, Scav here running Scavs as well as the other new unit, which is the Crows. Crows are interesting. I don't think they're seen as very strong right now, but I'm really interested to see if Scav can use them to good effect. They do seem to scale very well, so if you can get a large amount of them, they do pretty well. Legomann in the green here running that Skunk Snake. I think the Skunk Snake has a lot of potential. But the balance of the skunk is still one of the most debated and like adjusting, one of the most moved things, which is honestly a shame to me because I think the skunk in the live version is actually just about perfect. So I'm disappointed to see the huge changes. I'd like just maybe like the tiniest change. Yeah, these particular crows got a bit of a nerf from the last iteration, since the last iteration were super overpowered and scaled way too well. So these are a bit weaker, and I've seen them used somewhat, but they do seem like they need something else. So we'll have to see what Scav has in mind here. So far, the mole was worth it. He got a hit off on one of the farms. Note that you can burrow to mole warrens now, which is a really interesting quality of life buff. I like it. Now he's going to come in again and force more cells on these farms. Another hit goes off. Another hit goes off. Oh my gosh. Whoa! Legomann just being a little bit crazy there, dropping farms and then selling them right away just to keep the moles. It kept the moles busy. They weren't able to move around because they kept retargeting new farms and then being sold. So I think that's overall still better for Scav because enough moles got their hits off, but interesting defense from Legomann. Bolt, the burrow to mole warren is devious, yes, but considering moles are probably going to get a nerf coming up where their damage to anything but structures is actually mega nerfed, they're still going to have a lot of their cheese functions and tank functions, and they'll still have the burrow to the warren, so that's going to be great. Thanks for the follow. Irina to I don't know. Yeah. Whatever your name is, thank you for following. Sorry. Scav coming in here with the squirrel lizard mole. Yeah, the patch test 2.0, the O2. I actually really like it. I think it's amazing. I definitely like it. Moles go down to like 1 DPS against units, but keep the 6 DPS against structures. It's crazy. There's a couple of other details to it, but I think it's great. It kind of reinforces their role and makes them less just overall well-rounded amazing. Okay, one Warren was killed, but other than that, Legomann holds. Mass Squirrel just winning the day. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes Mass Squirrel just is the best. Although a lot of that really had to do with Defender's advantage, too. The Warren tanking and the pigs firing and everything. Lizards do perform well against pure squirrels when there's not pigs around, so Scav should be able to hold here, but he's losing a lot of pigs. Yeah, 3 pigs, that's plenty good. So Scav taps out, and Legomann takes it. I love to see a tied-up series. Let's go game 3. Scav going Scavs and Ferrets now. Legomann with the same deck as before. Yeah, I mean, if your opponent is not giving you a reason to build something other than squirrels, then just keep building squirrels. Eventually they don't scale as well, but like, by eventually they don't scale as well, I mean like around 20 something, they stop scaling well. Like 9 squirrels is infinity better than 6, 12 squirrels is so much better than 9, 15 squirrels is scary. You know, they just stay good for a long time. So unless your opponent is going skunks or some other complicated mix of units that's going to make squirrels not work so well, just more squirrels is good. And I don't think that's a problem, by the way. I'm not complaining. I think that's great. It's just something that a lot of beginner players like don't trust. Oh shoot, are my sound alerts not working? My sound alerts aren't working. Shoot, I just worked on those the other day too. There's one. I guess my browser source isn't working. Sorry, guys. I'll fix that after the stream or after this match anyway. Alright, Scav pushing in. Legomann is going to get his snakes out eventually here, but a Warren and a pig have already gone down. 2 Warrens have gone down. Now, snakes do extraordinarily... Oh my god, these are the zoomy snakes. Ah, these are the zoomy snakes. After shooting, they get a speed boost. These are fun. I think they're not great for the game overall. I like the other newer snakes better, where it's like a return to the old snakes but without structure and without days or whatever. But like, these are kind of fun for a gimmick. And in any version, in any iteration, snakes have always done well in low eco. It was a fun idea. It didn't pan out, but it's kind of fun. Okay, the commander died here, so... a little bit of overkill on some of these squirrels, but they're being rallied back. Snake staying alive with the pigeon support. It's kind of spicy here, trying to keep everything alive, but it's working out. The snakes win out in the end. All the pigeons have gone down, so these snakes are damaged for now. But Legomann is going to feel safe queuing up a farm here. There is one pigeon. There we go. Legomann going to get a little bit more aggressive, popping down some forward squirrel warrens. It is 7 farms to 7, so that's kind of an interesting note. A little bit even there. The snakes are targeting the commander and not the squirrels, so this is actually really bad for Legomann, in my opinion. Like, I know he's trying to kill the commander so he can get away, but it's not working out for him, and Scav is actually pretty efficiently pushing everything back. Having said that, here we go with snakes in the low eco again. They're actually crushing. And they can pursue, as long as they can get a tag off, they can continue to pursue. Especially with the pigeon support, this is brutal. Maybe he was targeting the commander to help his snakes room back to safely a little bit faster. That's kind of an interesting thought. Alright, Scav taps out. So the zoomy snakes take in game 3. Let's go up to game 4 and see what these players have for us. Scav playing a totally different game here. This is closer to pile style. We've got structures. Pile style was all of the 5 structures plus lizard. There have been some neo-pile styles, as I like to call them, which are variants on it, where you only get the structures you need. The most concrete of the 5 structures is all you really need, and then you get lizards, and then you have 2 free slots for whatever else you want. So this neo-pile style gives him squirrels for a very flexible early game, and then mass crow as a possible late game, so I like it. Legomann here with the same deck as usual. Making it work, though. And now he knows that we're on the Vermi Snake patch. The thing is, the new patch test has various, like, balance mods for suggestions of Eel trying to figure out what works best. And I think this is the unmodded, without the patch test 01 version or the patch test 02 version. I like the 02 best so far. But it is interesting to go back and kind of see this initial iteration. We did kind of get a confirmation that the fun Vroomy snakes are interesting. Both sides going for an expansion here. And plenty of squirrels on both sides as well. Yeah, they're a little bit difficult to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. I think good news is that we don't have to worry about it too much. It's kind of a fun thing to try out, but it's not something that we're all going to stick with. I think overall they're stronger than the current patch snakes by a long shot, but they're also, I think, less interesting than the current patch snakes. There's definitely been some interesting uses of snakes in the current patch, whereas the Vermi snakes, they're just kind of like one-dimensional in my opinion, even as strong. But the newer snakes, I actually like the newest iteration of snakes the best. Now, Scav is actually making a mistake leaving this MG undefended, and this is a really, really, really common mistake, and I say it a lot in my streams, but I'll say it again. If you have an MG, you don't want the MG in front of your army, especially alone like that. They're so easy to pick off. They're not tanky in the slightest. The best thing you can do is right where the squirrels were when he was scouting ahead, like have like units right in front, kind of surrounding the MG on all sides, is the best thing ever, because you want your units to be tanking for the MG while it does the damage. So it's a very common misconception. MGs are absolutely not tanks. This is that was a little bit better having the lizards kind of like in between, but even right now, if the squirrels were like up here, this would be so much better instead of back here. So it's a very, very, very common misuse of MGs. Legomann going up into plenty of economy as well as Skunk Pigeon. So he's going to have a really, really terrifying push here in a moment with the Mass Squirrel. This is an interesting decision here, kind of coming in here while... I think Legomann lost his commander, that's why this is working. Ooh, that last pig did not go down. So 12 lizards for 4 pigs, I think is technically slightly better for the lizard player, but it's not insane. It does force a push here, and now there's a bunch of MGs going down. Again, the squirrels need to be in front of the MGs, not behind. You don't want the MGs to tank because they die too quickly. These new MGs, though, you can see the squirrels are kind of intermixed, and this is going to be much better. Also, the balloons are getting pretty good value here. Pigeons helping that skunk get away alive is huge. And after that trade, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say who I like better. Legomann is farming up here, which is totally fine since the structures of Scav can't really attack. And Legomann is also dropping a wolf, so he's trying to get up into this kind of mid-game pushing composition before Scav's structures scale out of control. Meanwhile, Scav is farming up on this ninja over here. It was very important that the skunks stayed alive. Notice the vision here from Scav. Scav can see almost like so much of the map. He can see the commander going up there. He's ready to counterattack here. There are almost enough lizards to just fight that squirrel army in the open. Legomann is definitely trying to get up into his tech. I like the way Legomann's playing this. It can definitely be stressful to play against a pile style. The structures and the lizards, both of them can be difficult to figure out what's going on. But I like how he's keeping calm and teching up. Now Scav is transitioning into Mass Crow. And the crows are all coming from the other angle there, which is an interesting decision to try to keep them hidden. The wolf is out, and there are some falcons here. He's going to run up to try to take care of this expansion. But the crows are ready, so the crows are going to come around to deal with the falcons. So Legomann, there aren't enough let's see. He is going to try to trace these falcons with the crows and the lizards. And it is going to... They are all going to die. All of Scav's squirrels died in exchange. Now it's just going to be lizard versus squirrel. And I think the wolf buff squirrels are going to do it, especially the skunks in the water as well. He's trying to trying to focus down this wolf, and the lizard reinforcements are going to do it. The wolf goes down. The skunks in the water are so huge, though. Skunks don't usually do well versus lizards, but in the water they do. The ninja is going to go down, and Scav is going to have to sell his Crow Warrens, which is fine because he still has the rest of his tier 1 at home. I think that was still worth it for Legomann. Yeah, Crow Lizard works out well. That was interesting positioning, so it was kind of hard to see the Crow Lizard, like, without other factors, because the other factors were so huge. The skunks in the water, the flank, everything was weird. Legomann is going to grab this base as his third. Meanwhile, Scav does have this base as his third. Here's the interesting thing is, since Scav has already partially mined out this base, if we get to a starve game where Scav can, like, turtle up super hard here, he could actually win a starve game, but I don't think we're going to get to that, because Legomann has a really scary army right now. And Scav is actually pretty light on his defenses. So he's got to be careful. The lizards are going to get caught here. Lizards aren't as able to run around with the wolf buffed units. Wolf buff squirrels and wolf buff falcons are like the same speed as squirrels, but with extra range. So the lizards just get all picked off for free. I think Legamann's just going to win this. Divide and conquer. He takes out the lizards, and now he takes out the squirrels, and that's going to be game. Legomann takes the series 3-1. GG's.